Mickey. Hey, Mick. You coming to the hay feeders? Let's go feed the horses, Mick. Mick, come on. There's so much energy here. The longer I've been here, the more I've discovered it is some sort of transformational vortex. Calling to people who really do want to discover the truth of who they are and find their life's journey. I believe animals are the higher beings. I believe we have a lot to learn from them, and that's what this retreat is about. It's not about me trying to translate it, it's about you having just an interface with what is here, and it will speak to you. Right now, what we want you to speak about is what called you to come here. What are you anticipating? Anything that you want to share that way.
What called me to come here?
The whole experience of being led here 16 years ago was a calling. I was alone on the land in my canvas tent. I was afraid of the aloneness. I was afraid of the dark. All of my stuff came up. I had nothing to do. I had no radios or internet. So I'd go out and follow the herd, and I would just walk the land. I began to realize that I was never alone, that it was all one, and everything I was interfacing with was like God interfacing with God. We walked the land with a shaman and geomancer. Geomancers look at the land almost in a romantic way. When the rocks are breaking the surface of the land, it's like the back of the dragon. A riverbed would be a serpent. Everything is speaking to you. We began to realize that this land is dragon energy. Dragon energy is about metamorphosis and manifestation.
The rhythm here is very soft and kind. I feel very safe here.
I was born in South Africa on a farm, and my favorite thing was taking camping trips into the African bush, observing and painting African animals. I was very connected to nature. For the last 40 years, I've been very much living in cities and working in offices. Connecting to nature here made me realize how important it was.
It just feels so good, and it's just so majestic and so beautiful and so peaceful. It's just a really sacred place. Everything is in harmony.
I had lots of spiritual friends that would come with their healing tables, Reiki people, and things like that. And we'd say, maybe we should put the table in the paddock. I get on the table, Ellie and Diva come over, and they just drop their heads on my chest. And Ellie just started bumping all my chakras down my body. Well, I'm rarely in body. She's trying to say, hello, get in there so we can do something with you. She and Diva breathed on all my chakras. That was the beginning of the retreats. The horses will heal everybody. They see that invisible around us. That's why they're amazing healers, because they can feel the energy that's not resonating in the right way, and they'll go in there and correct it.
I really do believe that animals speak to you. I'm like what's called an empath and a highly sensitive person. I'm here to help shift the consciousness of people around animals. I don't know what my gifts and talents are, for that.
But I have a problem if I think about animals that have been abused or hurt. I have memories, body memories. If I start thinking about it, my body will like shake. And I'm no good to the animals if this happens all the time. So I'm praying that here they'll help me. I need to know how to navigate and be there for them. And I also want to be able to communicate with them and hear them and share their stories.
I really believe that animals are in our lives to open our hearts and to connect us with spirit and with the earth. They teach us about living and dying so that we're ready for it ourselves.
Serene has just had a new baby. She's very protective. So she appears quite formidable at times, but really she's just being a good mom. Hi, Hyperion. Can I see? How's my little boy? He says, I'm so frisky when I'm on the land. I think I'm a little wild. Yes. Come on, Hyperion. Let's go find Mommy. Hi. Hi, baby. If you walk in nature, spend time with natural beings. Where are we going, guys? If you understand the concept of one mind that encompasses all consciousness on the planet, maybe in the universe, you begin to be tuned to the vibration of the natural world. That level allows us to bleed through and become part of nature. You've got a grass picker. You like all this? Is it all good? You are so special. Is that a good one? Yeah. Good.
I'm a seeker. A seeker is trying to find out more about your spirituality, about the energy, you hear about heart as opposed to mind. I think the method is to be still and be present and be open. Horses and animals in general, they don't have that problem like we have. That little voice in your head always telling you what to do and things like that. Mine tells me what to plan and living in the future.
I'm kind of a late bloomer. I do everything later than most people, except that I had my kids very early. I was a teenage mom. I've been diagnosed as being bipolar. Most of my adult life, I could not rely on myself to be functioning well. I would be clinically depressed. It's hard. to be true and to feel like I could be myself.
I was a painter when I came here, and I had no idea why I was so strongly called to come here. And I didn't give it a thought that how it could maybe affect my art career. I guess for a little while, I carried on painting the odd piece for galleries, local galleries, and my subject matter changed from wildlife to horses and scenes, you know, whatever I was seeing here. Then I just started painting less and spending more time exploring my horse relationship with my herd. One day, I just had this insatiable urge to write, and I started to channel One with the Herd, which was the first book. At that point, the dogs, the cats, they all got involved. And they said it's not just about the horses, it's about all the animals. And I wrote 4 books in 2.5 years. Sometimes I don't know if I'm speaking for me or I'm speaking for them.
This place helps you to reflect. Definitely, the horses remind me to breathe and get still. And in those moments, I can find myself again.
I just have so much gratitude for all of the horses in the world and all the horses I've ever had, and these horses here. We're one herd of humans and horses. As long as you maintain that heart connection with them, you'll be safe with them. And that comes from deep trust.
I went in to see Tesoro. He was just there, being Tesoro, and I just sat there with him.
I love his ears. Hello. I see him as a patient, equal, supportive spirit. I relate to his experience of his being brought into the herd and being different. They say he's helping me and healing me, and I think he must be. Are you listening?
I was in the emergency room for 30 years. I'm trained in family practice and emergency room. I think it's very important for a physician to build trust and an empathy. Otherwise, you're only going to get part of the story, and you won't be able to help the patient the way you should. Healing the spirit is as important as healing the body.
What we teach here is invitation and reward rather than pressure and release. So instead of me coming in and going, oh, I'd like you to move and I'm going to increase pressure, I'm going to ask at a much lighter level, because horses can feel a fly land on them. They can feel the energy in my aura. I can be back here and I can walk up to Prima and I can ask her to back up. Here. Good girl. I'm going to be training my horse to be at liberty with me. So I'm always going to have a really loose lead line. I'm not going to pull them because when I take the halter off, I don't have any way to pull them. They like to get invited rather than told. When you see a lead mare, she walks into the herd and she looks at a body part and that horse moves it. All I'm doing is focusing. Now, if she didn't listen to that focus, I could amp it up a bit and I could say, I really need you. I might point at it. If that didn't work, I might just kind of swing my rope at it because these are all levels. And if that didn't work, I might just tap her. Good girl. And once you have tuned your horse by maybe even going to phase 4 and tapping them, they'll go, I get it. I'm just walking towards her. And that's how sensitive horses are. They only need your focus. They don't need a sledgehammer or a big whip. They like somebody who is going to be able to take care of them, which is the lead mare. What we're going to practice is having the horse follow us at liberty. When you get your horse to volunteer, you have a willing partner.
I couldn't understand why leading up to this, I was crying all the time. If I expect to see something negative, I will see it at the expense of my own joy, at the expense of my own creativity, and even at the expense of my own connection with other people. I spent a lot of years crying. And I think it was just time at this age to stop feeling overwhelmed and exhausted by it. You can't accomplish anything when you're overwhelmed.
The reason I'm here is I recently lost my 2.5-year-old son, Bodhi. My mind can accept that he's no longer here because he's not present in physical form, but this grief is stuck in every cell, every tissue of my body. I pretty much lost everything. My job, my home. I'm rebuilding that, and I just want to put that prayer out to the universe for me to start again.
This isn't so much an escape as it is a place to leave things behind that have no place in you anymore. My goal is to work on my perception so that my focus is not on what is wrong, but that I remain an opening. Because if you're not an opening for magic, it's not going to happen.
I started getting triggered a lot from my past problems and things that I haven't healed. I pulled away, but I worked through them, and what I realized is I don't have to be so heavy, and I need more joy and love and laughter in my life. So I just decided to let go of it. I don't want to live from that place anymore. I want to heal it and move on. It totally shifted what I thought I was coming here for.
The way that I feel that I help others is through being an empathetic heart. And I think that when that's happening to people, you're giving them a safe place to be, and that's when healing happens.
Inhale, exhale, inhale. Our breath just matched. I blended in with the herd. And that's just when I just felt I was safe.
I have always considered something along the lines of healing practices. I think that that goes back to who I was when I was a little girl. I always felt like that. I deviated from that when I didn't understand that there were gifts within trauma. But I think that's kind of who I've always been. And now I know that is what I'm here to do.
Do that again. Are you gonna go back? This is good for your mental health. I know. You can't make decisions about your life if you're unhappy.
We all have our stories, and they don't define who we are. But eventually, I want to get to a point where it's just not my story, and I want to just be celebrating my son, Bodhi. Not be stuck in the tragic event that happened, but to process it and honor it and arrive at peace with that.
When you're dealing with a horse, you don't have to have any shields, you know, because he's not got any shields. What you see is what you get. We tend to always have our masks and not be as authentic as we should be. If we could become more authentic with each other, we could get a deeper connection. I'm a spiritual being, but we get so tied up in the human experience, developing our mind and our body and collecting material stuff, that we tend to completely forget the spiritual side. Connecting to nature brings that back.
If you look at everything that's created as being consciousness, because there is one creative life force that is creating it. The land has consciousness. The herd has consciousness. Humans have consciousness.
I'll tell you a little story about my last moments with Bodhi. That morning, we went out into the backyard, and he's never done this before, but he stuck his arm straight out to the side and started running. And he said, "Mommy, Mommy, let's be birds. Let's fly like birds, Mommy, let's fly." And I found myself just running around, circling Bodhi, giggling. We're just being birds, not knowing that that day his soul took flight.
I was 17, and after my parents' divorce, my mom got together with this guy, and he was a very messed up individual. He sexually abused me. He said, "If you say anything about this, I'll tell your mother that you instigated it." I fell silent for a couple of years, and then 2 years later, he did the same thing to my younger sister. You know, I don't think about it every day, but it does play into my confidence and how I feel about myself. I still have to work with that stuff. I still have to work on that trauma. This stuff gets caught in your cells, you know? You have to find different ways of releasing. The first day, I still felt so tight, and I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to sort of let go. Those long-term wounds feel more like an old story that during my stay here, I've let go. It doesn't mean that that story is not a part of me or something that I experienced, but it doesn't have to be attached to the true essence of who I am. I'm finally letting something go. Something that has negatively influenced my life for a long time.
I just love being with animals. I just feel that one. Just lots of unconditional love radiating to me and radiating back to the animal. You don't get that from anything else.
What I'll take back with me here would be the therapeutic part of an encounter. if I can be there like the horses, totally present, totally devoted to the patient or the person in front of me, that's going to add a lot to the healing process. The healer is as much part of the healing as the medicine. I think the priorities this week have shifted for me. I believe I can just become a better person and a better friend and a better person to know, and certainly a better father, and be there more for my kids. Because I realize that's often not the case. Even if I'm physically there, I'm mentally not there. The only thing you've got is the present. I believe if you can start appreciating every single moment, it'll lead to a life that's more open and free.
Especially in the death of a child, people always want to give their advice. I've been told that I'm being afraid of nature because Bodhi died in nature. Getting closer to the edge, I don't want to be afraid of any of this anymore. It's a process, but only I can do it. I'm not afraid.
We learn from the herd that when one hurts, we all hurt. When one suffers, we all suffer. And that we are all here to heal together. I needed to learn that here.
I can feel vulnerable and feel the feelings I a lot of times hold in by being with the animals. When any of them are looking at me or they're putting their head on me, or that makes me just let go. I can just be myself.
In my past, I would tend to isolate a lot. And I think that being around people that sort of intrinsically understand has helped this wash through. I really think together we shifted things within us on a very individual basis, but I think maybe even on a group basis too. There was this circle. There was this wonderful flow and circle between all of us, people and horses, and even the dogs and the cats here, so. When I sit with the horses, that beautiful circle of healing, of appreciation and gratitude for them and what they're doing, is always there. Always.
My definition of love is to actually support the growth of the other person. But I'm just wondering what we could actually give to these lovely animals. It doesn't sound fair, does it? I didn't find anything that they needed.
Animals don't take what they don't need. There's no posturing. There's no falsehood. There's no face. There's no facade. And they know what you're thinking anyway. You have to be in your truth, and then they come to you. And that is what they ask from us.
We are all here on earth living in a time of great change. Because of our communication systems, a small change in consciousness can affect millions of minds. An individual can change the world. We often hear you say, "What can I do? I'm one small person." You can hold the integrity for your whole species. You can maintain empathy for other species and for the whole organism of the earth. All minds are joined. One mind touches many others, who in turn touch many others.